It is the year 3040 and the humans somehow made it. Yes, we are not extinct. People have abandoned their desires for the greater good. North Korea has become one of the happiest places to live on earth, where elections take place and more than one candidate participates in it. Countries have surrendered their nuclear forces and their selfish grind to be the number one in economy. The prospect of war seems stupid. There are no discriminations based on religion, race, gender, and even by country, since no countries exist as all the borders have been removed. Anyone is free to go anywhere and the earth collectively belongs to everyone. Simply put, sex and money no longer drives this place.
Hold on!
Alright, as funny and hilarious as it sounds, all the things I mentioned might happen. But you know what will not happen? Discovering alien life. Welcome to Lore, and this is why you will not see aliens. Well, I am not an astrophysicist, but I still did my research. I can talk about what scientists and astronomers have discovered until now, what's the current state when it comes to looking for aliens, and what is planned for the next few decades for detecting extraterrestrial life. I could take this video forward based on any of these three aspects, but I am simply not convinced that the human race will ever see alien life from somewhere in space. Not in a billion years, and not even after that. Nevertheless, we will assess our luck in discovering aliens. Before diving deep into finding alien life from elsewhere, we need to address how life started in the first place, so it will make sense later when we talk about suitable conditions for life to evolve. So, how exactly did life start? With an atmosphere that had very little oxygen and much more methane instead, our Earth was a punishing place to survive for the most part. The first living things that we know about were microorganisms that left signals of their presence in rocks about 3.7 billion years old. Multicellular life. Microbes are simple organisms that can process different chemicals, but they lack the special cells that animals have. Animal bodies have different types of cells, like skin cells, blood cells, and bone cells, which all have different parts called organelles that do specific jobs. Microbes are just one cell without organelles or a nucleus to hold their DNA. Something interesting happened when microorganisms like different types of bacteria began living inside other microorganisms, and they started to function as organelles for the host microorganism. Mitochondria, which are organelles that turn food into energy, evolved from these partnerships. The new complex cells had different parts that did specific jobs which helped the entire cell. This was also the first time that DNA was kept in nuclei. So the idea of living together not only resonated with us humans but individual cells because it had so much benefit. When groups of cells came together, they could feed better or get protection from being bigger. New cells started to take on different roles to support the group. Certain cells formed connections to keep the group intact, while others made enzymes that could break down food and enhance digestion. Sponges were among the earliest animals. Oxygen levels in the ocean were still low compared to today, but sponges are able to tolerate conditions of low oxygen. Like other animals, they need oxygen to survive, but they don't need much because they don't move around a lot. They get their food by staying still and using special cells to suck in water that contains food particles. And then a lot more animals began evolving, but I think that's enough to answer how life started. In short, single-celled microorganisms began living in other microbes. As a result, mitochondria and other cell organelles evolved, and because the relationship was beneficial, more cells started gathering together for protection. This process was going on a rinse and repeat mode for hundreds of millions of years to form multicellular life and eventually animals. And more conducive the environment with better oxygen levels, water, and favorable temperature, this process accelerated. But we are talking about Earth, which was not in a good shape, but still evolution happened. What about other planets? Two space rovers called Curiosity and Perseverance, launched by NASA, have clearly determined that ancient Mars was significantly more wet and warm and was an entirely habitable place for microbial life. All the ingredients needed for life as we know it. The proper chemicals, a consistent source of energy, and water were available for millions of years. Scientists are still trying to figure out if there is life on other planets or moons in our solar system. But if they find evidence of life on places like Mars, Europa, which is a moon orbiting Jupiter, or Enceladus, a moon around Saturn, it would mean that there is a good chance that life exists on other planets and moons outside of our solar system. Origin of life on Earth itself strongly implies that life is possible elsewhere. Two origins in one solar system strongly suggests that life is commonplace in the universe. Scientists are using new technology and knowledge to find planets that are far away from us. They are looking for planets that are in the right distance from their star so that water can stay liquid on the surface of the planet. This is called a habitable zone. On the surface of such a planet, water neither evaporates nor does it remain frozen forever. The universe. So what have we found till now? 1 septillion or 10 to the power of 24 planets, around 4,000 exoplanets have been discovered outside our solar system, with 1 in 5 being potentially habitable. A total of 100 sextillion stars, around 2 trillion galaxies, And all this packed in a 93 billion light years wide universe. All of these are estimations, but we have an idea of the order of magnitude, that is, how many, how long, and how large is the universe. You can write a number followed by zeros until you are bored, and still a universe-related stat like the number of stars or galaxies might be bigger than that. Clearly, there are so many objects in the universe. But do you know what is more than the objects? Space. Even more empty space between these objects, matter, or whatever. The universe is expanding at an extremely high rate, around 73.3 kilometers per second per megaparsec. And how can we visualize this? Firstly, megaparsec is a unit used to measure very large distances such as the ones between stars and galaxies. Assume you are 3.3 million light years away from Earth. The object on which you are standing, it can be a planet, a moon, a star, or just a rock. Whatever it is, the distance between that object and Earth is not constant. Every second it is increasing by 73.3 kilometers. So there could have been a tiny possibility to discover extraterrestrial aliens or just life in general from somewhere in space if their planets stayed put. But with this rate of expansion, that simply becomes impossible. And this is the main reason or a factual weapon I have to back my claim. The title of this video, You Will Not See Aliens. I didn't mean there are no aliens, but even if they are there, we are not going to see them. So we have seen a lot about why it's impossible to see aliens. Let's talk about something that gives a figure or a number to measure our chances. I thereby present to you the Drake equation. Just a little backstory of how it happened first. Frank Drake organized a conference at Green Bank Observatory in West Virginia called SETI, which is short for Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. This conference brought together scientists from various fields such as radio astronomy, biology, and computer science to discuss the possibility of detecting extraterrestrial life. During this conference, Drake came up with the equation to encourage attendees to think about the various factors that could influence the likelihood of detecting extraterrestrial intelligence. He wrote the equation on a blackboard and asked attendees to consider the different variables and to estimate their values. The equation was intended as a way to focus the discussion and to provide a framework for thinking about the problem. So, we'll decode this equation ourselves and find a result, shall we? Consider the following variables. We'll take them one at a time. R star is the average rate of star formation in the galaxy. Fp is the fraction of stars that have planets. Ne is the number of planets per star that are in the habitable zone. Fl is the fraction of habitable planets on which life arises. Fi is the fraction of life-bearing planets on which intelligent life arises. Fc is the fraction of planets with intelligent life that can develop technology to communicate over interstellar distances. And finally, L is the average lifetime of such advanced civilizations. Okay, that was a lot to take in. But all we are doing is taking how many stars are formed in a galaxy per year, how many of them have their own solar system, how many planets per solar system are in the habitable zone, and in how many of those planets do intelligent life evolve that is capable of building communication systems for a very long distance. Finally, we multiply all of this and the end result? We get the number of alien civilizations in our galaxy, which are less than 100,000 light years from us. Now, I will leave it up to your interest to find out a definite value from this equation. Different sources have vague values for these variables and I don't know how accurate they are. Fermi paradox. After all, what's a video about aliens if we don't discuss the Fermi paradox? The Fermi paradox asks the question, if there are so many stars and planets in the universe, why haven't we seen aliens yet? So even though the universe is really big and has a lot of stars and planets, the chances of aliens existing on one of those planets is really small. And even if aliens do exist, the chances of them being close enough to us for us to see them is also small. So then, what's the confusion here? Well, having the vastness of our universe with a huge number of habitable planets as an initial premise, we should have met extraterrestrial life by now. But the reality in front of us contradicts with the expected result of the original premise. And thus, the paradox goes on and on. Some scientists think that maybe aliens are too far away for us to see, or that they are hiding from us, or maybe they don't want to talk to us. It's a big mystery that we are still trying to figure out. Thank you for watching.